my dad would always come home from work at about 2 a.m. And this is right when we first came to the United States. And he would wake me up and teach me the English alphabet. And I always hated it because whenever I would go back to sleep, I would have these terrible nightmares. But he always, took the time and effort. And I don't know how he did it after working an 18-hour shift to come home and make sure he got me to a position where I would be able to assimilate into, just the society, but also into the educational system. So he tutored me a lot on his own. And I remember my first day at that daycare, as when he dropped me off, and I was crying, didn't realize he was going to leave me alone. And I do remember him telling the instructor, the person at the daycare, that the only two things that I know in English are sit down and get up. And then once I got a little bit older, I think I was 5 or 6 at the time, he would take me with him to the store, because usually I wouldn't see him at all during the weekday. It would only be on the weekend when I would go to the store with him, and he'd be working the cash register, and I'd be sitting on a milk crate right beside him, studying English, and he'd be there to help me. And it's it's funny because somebody that speaks with him now may say he has an accent, his English is not so great, but that's the guy that taught me how to speak English. Even in New York, he would always take the time to take me to the library, which I think had a huge impact on my education, just reading at a very young age. And he continued to do that here in North Carolina, and would always reward me with money whenever I made straight A's, and like brag to the customers about me whenever people, regular customers would come in. And something that my dad always did, whether it was conscious or subconscious, was he would get a letter in the mail, and he would ask me to read it for him and explain it to him. People that worked at the stores, same thing. They would get like correspondence from the DMV or from immigration, and they would ask me for my help in reading it, or help in responding to it. And so thinking back on that, I think that's sort of one of the things that sort of planted the seed in pursuing a law degree.